going on? It's your boy Chris Jack back with another one. Canvas Nomad here. And yesterday, I brought up the concept of freedom. And I know it could be a little confused because, well, being in America, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm from. I know this is supposed to be the land of the free. I understand that the privileges that we have is probably some of the greatest and blah, blah, blah. We have the best opportunity in the world. I've heard it all before. But to me, as I said yesterday, this is just psychological warfare. The illusion that it is a free environment is what is happening today, not that it's actually free. So, with that being said, the reason why I'm saying freedom, you don't necessarily have a boss, but you do have clients, and they inherently become your boss. Yeah, they're paying you money, but they're paying you to do the service, and you need to execute, and if you don't do it well, you will hear from them. You will get returns, you will get all these stuff. They become your boss. And if you work for a logo, I don't care if you are a manager, you have somebody higher than you in the hierarchy. You know what I mean? It's funny how they say, oh, everything is a pyramid scheme, but when you look at the hierarchy of a business, isn't that inherently a pyramid scheme? You have the employees, you have the managers, then you have like the supervisors, whatever the case may be, the regional managers, then you have the COO and all that stuff, then you have the CEO at the top, right? But then even the CEO has a boss. They have the owner of the company themselves, if they're not the owner. And then if they are the owner, but they're on a publicly traded stock, then they have a council of people that they have to respond to. They're stockholders, they're shareholders. So you're never gonna escape having someone tell you what to do in life. I mean, I feel like you possibly can, but it's very rare. It's very, very rare because you need money to survive. You need money to come from somewhere. And that's why I think YouTube is one of the best things. Because I feel like as though, yes, you will have your clientele with YouTube, but technically you don't have to talk to them. There's no customer support, there's no nothing. It's either your video is good or not, and people will watch or not. That is it. And your viewers are inherently your clients. But you don't have to interact with them at all unless they put something in the comment section and then you interact that way. But even then, if you want your channel to grow, you kind of need to develop a community, so you have to respond to your comments. But I think that's really the only way. But even then, I gotta argue, I know that the two guys aren't, in charge anymore, and I don't think Susan, the CEO, is in charge anymore, but there's somebody that owns YouTube. And if you put something on YouTube that isn't recommended or isn't good for sponsorships, they will demonetize your channel and eventually flag it, and sooner or later you can lose your channel altogether. So you're always gonna have somebody telling you what to do. So I don't mean freedom in that sense. But what I mean freedom is the fact that literally you don't have to be locked down by a certain thing. So for example, if you have a job that you have to clock into, you really can't do much outside of the 2 days you probably have off. And if you're working a job where your 2 days aren't consecutive, where it's like you have Mondays off and Wednesdays off, forget it, you can't do anything. At least if you have 2 days off, you can take a 2-day vacation or go somewhere for 2 days and you'll be fine. But even then, you still have to report back by Monday or, leave on Friday. So those things are, again, you're not escaping those things. What my concept of freedom is literally the idea of being mentally free. You can be free within a job if that's something you like to do. But if you are going off of survival, you're never going to be free. It's never going to happen. You're never going to be that way because you're always working out of desperation. You're always working out of scarcity. And once you're working out of scarcity, you're not going to have those things that can, be something that truly allow you to just think clearly, because you are always wondering where your next dollar is coming from, where your next paycheck is coming from, where your next, where you're next going to eat, so those things are the things that I'm talking about. But when I'm talking about mentally free, I'm literally saying, like, there is no illusion to what you're living. Yesterday, I brought up the concept that America is just a modern day plantation, but everybody's comfortable in where they live. Like I said, you could choose your own place, but if America's the greater plantation, then aren't you just working on the plantation? And then your minimum wage or your salary is just the difference between the lowest paying sharecropping price to the higher paying sharecropping price. Kind of the same thing. It's just evolved. But now, if you can truly go where you want, have the time to do what you want, because when you're at work, you don't have time to spend with your kids. Your teachers are with your kids more than you are. They're with them for 8 hours a day. Then they probably do some curricular activity after work. If they're not doing any kind of curricular activity like sports or some kind of club or some kind of SAT prep, whatever the case may be, then they're with their friends. They probably come home around 7, or if they're at a babysitter, you're probably gonna pick them up around 6. Then you're probably with them for 3 hours. You put them to bed. Then you go to sleep. Maybe you have an hour to yourself. Then you go to sleep. You do the same thing the next day. And then on the weekend, maybe you take them somewhere, and that's how you make up the time. But all of that is pretty much dominated by the week. So you don't have that time to do anything. So taking your time away is you losing your freedom. And taking your mobility is taking your freedom away. You don't have none of those things no more. And that's why I really think it's important for everybody to really sit there and think about themselves and have any career or job that you have as a side gig. You should be working towards something that not only wants to build a legacy, but something that you can leave behind for someone. And if you're working towards that every day, I guarantee you will be free, at least mentally. So those are the things that I just feel like I wanted to clear up yesterday with the concept of freedom. It's not literally that we don't have, like, look, I'm walking where I want to walk, but technically I'm heading somewhere I have to be. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't have to be there. And I understand there's that conversation between free will and determinism, where you have the free will to do whatever you want, but do you really? Because everything is influenced. Everything is influenced. Even if you are a person who says, I don't like to do what everybody else is doing, you're being influenced by what everybody else is doing, so you know to stay away from. So is there really free will? Not really. But again, that's just the psychology of things. And those that are in marketing know these things. When you're in marketing, you have to manipulate the choice, whether it's through music, whether through emotion, whether through some kind of strong pain point. You're targeting the person where it hits hard, pause, no diddy, and you're making them react to something that you're showing them, and then you're making them take action, which is known as a call to action. Those are all things that is influencing your choice. So you don't really have freedom or free will, but you think you do. I remember arguing with a friend that he didn't really have it in the budget to be wearing a jacket that he had. He had like some fur mink coat jacket, but he didn't have his own place. He didn't have his own car. He didn't have his own car. He didn't have any of these things. And he was saying, well, he wanted the mint jacket because he wanted it. I was like, no, you see people that you look up to with the mink jacket. That's why you got it. He was like, no, I don't give a damn why if they have a mink jacket. I wanted the mint jacket. And there's an element of that that's possibly true. But I know damn well, I've never seen him in that mint jacket after that night. Never seen him wear it again. Now, it could have been the conversation that, again, also influenced him. But at the same time, when he told me how much it was, $700, I'm like, you pay $700 for that? For what? You know what I mean? And it's all to put up an image to look a certain way that makes him feel free. Because that's at the end of the day what everybody wants to be. It's free. Free to feel like you've made a choice that directly impacts what you want to do. Free to feel like you can make a choice to feel like you want to, just be you. But when you're in a society that literally forces you to do things. For example, back in the day when I was growing up, I know it took a village to raise a kid. Today, you discipline any kids, first of all, you getting in trouble, cops is getting involved, ACS is getting involved, there's a whole bunch of stuff is getting involved, and then who knows, you might be in a jail, and what the funny thing is, you could be in the right, you could also be in the wrong, so that's why those obstacles are put in place. But at the same time, you ever notice that discipline today is a problem? I think everybody would agree, oh, back in my day, my mom would've, my dad would've, but you can't do stuff like that today. And it wasn't the concept of just hearing, the lady down the block tell you not to do this because she's gonna tell your mother, or, the old guy down the street gonna tell your mother so you don't do those things in the neighborhood. Because now kids got no respect for that. Because if anything, they know that the law is on their side and they can always call the law. So now you're limited in what you want to do, and it makes the society worse. It's just the truth. It makes society worse. However, when you do things like that, you're not free in that society, because now you have to tiptoe around the situations that you inherently want to make better for you, but you can't because you're a product of the environment you live in. If the environment is telling you can't do this, guess what? You can't do it. There's no freedom in that. So what's the best thing to do? Find a place where you feel like is acceptable to what you want to do. But you can't do that because you got to go work. But you're like, well, I could go work over there, but maybe the work that you find doesn't help with your lifestyle. So now you have to stay stuck in a situation that you don't want to be in. Then what you do is you build your jail cell comfortably. You get your nice apartment, you get your house, you get your car. Now all of these things come with bills. And at the end of the month, if you can't pay it, guess what? You can't maintain your lifestyle. So you now have to keep the job, stay in the environment that you're in, and guess what? You no longer are in control of anything that you do because you're back in survival mode. You're back in survival mode. I don't know. I just feel like when people start to make their life comfortable, that's when you get stagnant. And that's when you don't really care about wanting more unless it becomes about money. And then money's controlling you. You're never ever going to be free. So I want to make that very clear. But I also believe that when I say freedom, and I wouldn't even say believe, I know that when it comes to freedom, it's more of mindset over the situation. And it's not mindset in the way where you can convince yourself to look for the greater things, look for the positive in life. Yes, you should be grateful for what you have. I'm not saying that you shouldn't. But at the same time, if you know for a fact a situation is putting you in a situation where you're not necessarily happy, but you have to do it to maintain it, so you compartmentalize dead stuff to just find the joy in life, I don't know. I don't think that that's the way anybody should live. But of course, we get forced into it every day. I mean, music is telling you that, TV is telling you that, politicians is telling you that. Oh, don't worry, vote for me and I got you. And then as soon as they get in the office, they don't do nothing. Oh, listen to my music, don't worry, I relate with you. Then you find out, oh, their background is nothing like what they talk about in their music. Oh, don't worry, I only make movies because I want to reach the people. Then you realize when they go to a restaurant, they're one of the rudest people in the world. Everything is a fallacy. Everything. It's all an illusion. I really believe that. It's all an illusion. And the only way that we're gonna combat stuff like that is totally just disregarding the system. Now, I understand that's not easy to do, it's almost impossible, but that's the way to do it. Because if you don't do it then, I'm telling you right now, there is no way out of this. This is why I resorted to YouTube. Because at least, even though I can't talk about everything, even topics like this, I'm sure will be taboo, give it a couple years. Can't talk about stuff like this. But at the same time, at least, if I can find an audience that resonates with this, which I appreciate you if you watch, then there's an element of freedom in that. And if that somehow can monetize what I want to do in my personal life, then at least there's some bit of control where at least if I feel like I don't like the environment I'm in, I can relocate. If I don't like the people I'm around, I can relocate. I can do those things. I don't know. That's just me and my rant. It's your boy, Chris Jack. Like, comment, subscribe. If you made it this far in the video, you my friend. I appreciate it. Peace.